Well, hello world, welcome. How are you? I thought today I would do a little makeup fun with some cute Valentine stuff. So I'm going to start with, this is a balm for your eye. Give me the little balm. My eyes right here in the corner have gotten so dry that they crack and peel. So that's nonsense. I'm trying to get rid of that nonsense. All right, so we're going to start off with our first base primer. A little bit of primer spray. Then I'm going to go to my color correction of my under eyes. So I'm going to start with the yellow. The yellow, is that what I start with? No, I don't think so. I think I start with peach. I don't remember what I do now. All right, so we're going to start with the peach. And we're going to color correct this. This will make it more like a skin tone. Look at that. So this is a peach color, supposed to counteract the discoloration under here. Okay, there we go with that. Now we're going to take the yellow, and you don't see yellow very often. Yellow is going to brighten that up. Yellow is kind of the opposite of purple on the color wheel. So if there's any like purpleness in here still, because this is where it's really dark right here. And the reason it's really dark right there is it's folding because I've lost so much weight. I've created like a little trough there now. This is what it should have looked like all along, actually. So I'm going to just tap that around. I'm not particularly trying to mix it with the peach. I'm trying to put it on top. I'm going to kind of do that. It's not bad. I do think I need a little bit more on this side, right here. There we go. Oh, it's just so nice, right? Anti-discoloration. Still dark a little over here. Maybe I should put that all the way up. I think I got extra yellow on this one. Let's get my powder. So now you're going to set it with a little translucent powder. And I'm going to just tap that right here. Just so that will set that right there, and then we will not have it mixing with what I am going to put on top. So I'm going to get this color. This is color, which color I've been using? 26. It's the one I'm going to use right now. And I'm going to start here. Okay. And we're just going to take this. This is a wax-based foundation. It's like a pan. It's not greasy or oily at all. And it is not drying either. So if you have dry skin, it's good for all skin types. It will not dry skin out. It will not grease skin up. It will do neither. This does not soak into your skin. It sits on top of your skin like a second skin. Looks and feels like natural skin. Feels, which natural skin, what's natural skin feel like? It feels like you're wearing nothing, is what that means. It feels like you're wearing nothing. All right, so then we're going to do that. And I think I'm going to skip contouring today only because I want this lighter look. Just because I do. And then I'm going to take, this is a liquid concealer. I also have wax-based concealer. This is like a light to medium coverage. To me, this is more a medium coverage. It's really, you could make it light by putting very little on it. It is called Be Amazing Liquid Concealer, and this is number 6. And which is about what color I am. And I'm going to tap this on. Now you can use a brush. I usually have been using a brush, but I think I'm going to use my fingers today because this shows you can use different things. We're going to do that. And you don't want to like rub this so much. You want to tap it. That keeps it from just all, you know, getting on your finger and then it's not even on your face. And it also keeps it from you messing with your skin, stretching your skin. I'm just going to tap it on. And this, it gives you fuller coverage if you do this. The brush will pick it up more. This, your finger is obviously going to pick some of it up. But this will keep it from too much of it being picked up. And then it looks like we have very little under eye stuff going on there. As much as we can make it look like that. All right, so then we're going to take our powder and put on top again. And I'm just pressing this powder. I'm not rubbing because I don't want to rub this off. And really all you need to do is kind of place. They say if you use a, have you ever used a compact powder? Which this is what this is, compact powder. And you've used a powder puff. Hi, Michelle. You're not supposed to take the powder puff from the powder and go like this. Although I tell you, I have sure done that. You're supposed to pat it. And then if you have extra on there, you're supposed to take a brush and brush it off. So I'm doing a little Valentine look today for fun. So then I'm pushing the pressed powder around here. And then I'm going to take a bigger, fluffier brush, pick up the powder. But we have that under eye stuff mostly concealed. So I got this. There's a light fixture behind me that's on a ceiling fan up there. See up there? So those bulbs that were in that before, those are new ones now. The bulbs that were in there before, they were here when I moved into this apartment. So whoever, I don't know, whoever put those in, you know, some previous tenant put, and they got those kind, I don't even know if they make them anymore, that to me they look like white snakes. It's a bulb that looks like this and it squiggles all around, and they said there's a really, like, really bad and dangerous for the environment, but they were already in there. One of them burnt out a couple days ago, 3 or 4 days ago. I'm like, oh, I've got to get a new, I've got to get more. Well, I like now the LED bulbs because they don't use very much electricity. They can save you money on the electricity. So like for a 60-watt bulb, it uses like 8 watts. It's like having an 8-watt bulb, so it doesn't pull much electricity and they don't get hot. And living in Florida where things are hot, it's nice for it to not get hot. I'm using that number 2 right there. So I went and got some, and it says in there you can use up to 60-watt bulb. So I got some that there is supposed to be as bright as 60-watt bulbs, but there's 4, but I was only going to put 1. But it was so much brighter than what was in there that it made what was in there look really weird. And I hate those squiggly snake bulbs anyway. So I thought, you know what? Why leave those in there that pull more electricity when I can put these that don't pull as much electricity? And I had to buy a 4-pack anyway. So I'm like, well, I might as well put them in. So I took all 4 of those snake, they're like mercury filled or something. I took, I just call them snake bulbs. They look like white worms. I took those out. And I put all 4 of those new ones in, and I got the ones. Now, if you get LED bulbs, they have ones called soft light and ones called daylight. Soft light is a warmer, softer light. Daylight is the sun. Okay, and I got daylight only because of I have astigmatism in my eyes, which means I can barely see. And everything looks dim to me. What looks really bright to other people looks like, it doesn't look like the light's hardly even on to me. So apparently my eyes don't let in enough light or don't let it in right or something. So things look dingy to me under regular lighting because of my eyes. And so I got the ones that are bright as the sun. And I'm telling you, it is like a train light back there on my ceiling. But boy, can I see. You same way, yeah. I first discovered I had this issue when I was in the 6th grade. Now, I wasn't even wearing glasses in the 6th grade because I didn't need them yet. But I was sitting in math class. And we were supposed to be looking at the book. We had our books open on our desk. And we were supposed to be looking at our book and figuring out these math problems. So we had a piece of paper and pencil and the book open. And the book is mostly white. Bright, bright white paper. With, you know, math problems written on it. So I'm sitting there like this. Because I'm like 10, right? I was sitting there like this. And then I got, you know, and I'm looking at it and I'm writing down because you have to look at it and figure it out, think about it, you know. So we're very quiet in the class. And I got bored and I sat there and did this. Just because I started, and I looked. And then Will says tired of holding up my head. And then I did this. And I realized when I covered up my left eye versus covering up my right eye, everything went dim. And when I covered, and then I'm sitting in math class going like this. Like, wow. Because I didn't even know my eyes did this. Why is it dark? Why is everything so dark out of this eye? But it's still dark, but it's brighter out of this eye. And I'm sitting this whole time. So I went to Mom when I got home, and I said, Mom, how come if I cover up this eye, things are brighter, but when I cover up this eye, things go dimmer? She goes, I don't know, but I think we need to go to the eye doctor. So she took me to the eye doctor, and the eye doctor said she's nearsighted. And she has a steep astigmatism. Hi, Holly. And so, Holly said hi. And so, Mom took me to the eye doctor. Like I said, I was about 10. Because I was like, everything is dim. It's like if I cover this eye, things look brighter. And as soon as I cover this one, it's like you dimmed all the lights. Only you didn't. And so, the doctor said it's the astigmatism. She has astigmatism, which means a steep cornea. You don't know what that means. In other words, instead of your eye being somewhat rounded like this, mine are steeper. My eyeball, you can't tell it by the naked eye, but they're steeper. And so they don't let the light in right. And so the doctor told her then, told Mom, she will need glasses one day, but she doesn't yet. But one day she will, because her eyes, it will get worse. Hi, Mercury. So I learned in the 6th grade that my eyes don't let in a whole lot of light, especially the right one. And yeah, I know it looks backward to you, but this is the right one, because it flips the camera. Facebook flips it. You have astigmatism too. My mom did too. And my mom's, though, lights bothered her. So she couldn't, she wore those transition glasses that turned as black as they could turn because light bothered her really bad. But it's the opposite for me. It's like I can't see because everything looks kind of dark to me. If you turn off the lights where it's completely dark, I'm blind for about 15-20 minutes. Until my eyes eventually adjust and then I can start seeing shadows. But at first, when you turn off the lights, I am utterly blind for a while. And then, like I said, then eventually I can see, but at first I can't. And I thought everybody was like that until I got married. Of course, I'm no longer married, you know. But when I got married, I found out my husband could see stuff in the room. And he's like, something about something on the dresser. And I'm like, what? What? You can see something on the dresser? And he's like, yeah, you can't see that on the dresser? And I thought it was, because I'm nearsighted. So I put on my glasses in the dark. Because I thought that was the problem. No. I'm like, I can't see. It was some jacket or something on the dresser. I can't see that on the dresser. He's like, you cannot see my jacket on the dresser? And I'm like, I cannot see the dresser. He's like, you can't see the dresser? I can see nothing. He's like, how about the door? The door was dark brown. The walls were white. Can you see the door? No. Can you see? And then he started going like this with his hand. And I didn't know it. And I'm like, you can see all this stuff? He goes, yeah. And so I started doing that to him. He's like, yeah, I can see your hand. And I'm like, I cannot see your hand. I can't. And I'm like, I am really blind. I'm more blind than other people. But like I said, 15-20 minutes later, then I'm like, okay, now I can see the dresser. Now I can see the door. Now I can see your hand. But it takes my eyes, I guess, it takes them a while to adjust. It's really weird. But I just thought, I didn't know that wasn't normal. How would I know that wasn't normal? I didn't. So I learned that apparently people with normal eyes aren't that blind when you turn off the lights. And I am. So I got in this ceiling fan fixture is what I'm talking about. I got the brightest lights I can get. And it's like the sun. And I am like, I can see stuff back here I hadn't been able to see. I'm like, oh, look. I can see. I can see. And then, but those are LED lights, so they use less electricity. I don't know if you've ever used, I always loved the incandescent, the regular old light bulbs we used to have from 40 years ago. I loved those. But, and when they tried making other light bulbs, it's like, hate it, nope, hate it. Hate fluorescent bulbs. Hate those squirmy white worm looking bulbs. Nope, hate them. But then they came out with LEDs. And I still am nostalgic for the old-fashioned light bulb. But LEDs don't get hot. And when you live in a hot state where it's always hot, and you have to cool it with air conditioning, you don't want to heat your room with light bulbs. Because then you got to counteract that. LEDs use about 8 watts for a 60-watt bulb. So it's not pulling much electricity. They don't get hot. They don't heat your room. They're really bright. And they're saving money. And they last, like the ones I got said something like they last 13 years. Wow. So I'm not going to have to change them again. So you don't have to buy them again. They're not terribly expensive. Like that was a package of those with $5 and something at Walmart. For a 4-pack. So my brother told me he changed all the lights in his house to LEDs. Because I went over there one time. I'm like, whoa, your house is so bright. He goes, I know, it's the LEDs. And he said it cooled his house down. And he said his electric bill went down. I'm like, I'm converted. The electric bill went down. Now, he has a bigger house and more lights. He has like the kitchen lights that have all those, like, they look like fluorescent bulbs, those long tubes, so he replaced those with LEDs. Because he had a lot of lights. And he goes, oh yeah, it is made, I'm using powder. He says, it's made my bill go down. And I'm like, and he's like, it's not as hot in here. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Is this what I want? Yes, that's what I want. This does not go here. I'm like, I put something in the wrong place. Okay, so I'm going to use, which one do I want to do? I think I'm going to do this crazy hot pink. Because I'm going to do something with this crazy hot pink today. So I'm going to put that on as blush. But you will see, I do not need much of this. Because this is a really bright color. And a really intense color. And the way you can wear that, if you're fair-skinned, is don't put much on. Or you can tone it down with the regular powder. So I just put those bulbs in there. And seriously, it's like a train on the ceiling. Like the train is coming for me. And then but it's because I got the ones called Daylight instead of Soft White. Even though I like the soft white, I like the ambiance of the warm, soft lighting. But with this, I can see better. And I'm sorry, seeing wins. Seeing wins. When you have issues seeing with light, get the ones that say Daylight. Because, look at how bright is that. Look at that reflect off that paper. That's bright. And it makes me happy to see. And then I discovered something also that I didn't realize was an issue. And a lot of people have this in the winter, but we don't really have like that kind of winter in Florida. Where you have like a winter depression because it's dark and gloomy. And I don't have like a winter depression because we don't really have winter that's like that. But I discovered one day, and I didn't realize what the issue was, that I would sit here, and I don't know if it's not with me being alone, because I was like this when I was married too. When it starts to get dark outside, I have to get up and close all the blinds. And I'm not scared, because I'm not. So I'm not scared that there's something out there. Because if it is, I'm locked in, so I don't care. And it's not that I'm scared of people. Oh, somebody might see me. Well, if I'm just sitting on the couch. But it is not that. But I never analyzed why. I'm putting on my eyebrows. I never figured it out. It's just that I would be like, oh, it's dark. I gotta close the blinds right now. And I never figured out what the problem was. Matter of fact, I didn't know that was a problem. I just thought, oh, it's time to close the blinds. But I realized if I didn't if I don't get up and close the blinds and it gets dark, then I get a little anxious. And I'm like, I don't understand why I feel a little, not severely, but a little distraught. It's like just very mild. And I really think it's like that winter depression, only what I have is nighttime depression. And it's not just depression because I'm sad. It's that when it gets dark, I can't see very well. I think. This is what I think it is. And so I start getting a little anxious. And what happens when I close the blinds, because I have and this is just what came in the apartment. I have either white or ivory. There's ivory in there, or white out here. I have, the vertical blinds in the living room and the other kind, horizontal blinds. But they're plastic and light reflects off of them. That's what it is. So when I close my blinds at night, it gets brighter in the room because the light reflects off of it. And when it's dark outside, it starts getting dingy in the room, and it was distressing me. And I never thought about it to analyze it until one day I just started getting more and more like driven to go close the blinds as soon as it starts getting dark. And I'm like, what is the deal with this? Like, why am I feeling this way? And then one day I read about that, and I'd heard of it before, but something came up that I heard, was hearing about it again, about some people have this depression in the winter because it's dark. And I went, I'll bet that's what it is. Although I won't know that I would call it depression. Maybe it is a mild depression. But it's more like a distress. I don't know if that's depression. Maybe it's anxiety. But it wasn't so severe that it was affecting me that bad, but it apparently was subconsciously affecting me enough that I would be like, gotta close the blinds right now. And so when I close them, and I realized that one day, the room gets brighter. I'm like, this has got to be some version of like the winter blues, or whatever you want to call it, or winter distress. So if I get up when it gets dark and I close the blinds, I feel relieved because I can see again. I can see again. Can see better. So now that I have these brighter lights, since I just put them in today, and I put them in the one over there too, because I have a ceiling fan on that side of the room too. I put them over there too. I had one in because I had one burnout, and I'm like, no, this makes me too happy. I'm just going to put the bright ones on all of them, the daylight. So I'm curious to see when it gets to be dark and I close the blinds and those lights reflect off the blinds. I'm looking for it to make me happy. But I won't have, oh no, it's getting dark. I wonder if that can be some sort of a feeling of going blind distress. Even though I know I'm not going blind. But you know what I mean? It could be a subconscious mental thing that my mind's doing, feeling like I can't see, I get to see less and less. And maybe it's a distress that, oh no, I can't see, that my subconscious mind is doing. I don't know what it is, because it was kind of doing it without me pinpointing what it was. Today I am going to do, because I don't usually do it, I'm going to do black eyeshadow. If you've ever seen black eyeshadow, but it can be in black is aggressive. And I don't mean just wearing black. I mean, it's anxiety. I think it is. I don't mean it looks aggressive because it's a dark color. I mean, to put it on, you have to be careful with black because it gets everywhere. And you didn't mean to put it there, and suddenly you'll have black all over. So you want a smaller brush, especially with Lime Life's black, because it has so much, and then you tap it off. It has so much pigment in it. You will suddenly have black all over the place that you didn't want it. You're going to have it on your nose, on your cheeks, on your chin. I was like, on your fingers. And if you touch something, it's black. So this is like as black as coal, this color. It is called Dial-It Black. But yeah, I think it is anxiety, but I never identified it. I never thought to figure it out. I just knew it was like a compulsion that when it gets dark, I got to close the blinds. But I knew I wasn't afraid of like something else I was going to get me or something. It wasn't that. So I'm like, why do I have this drive? And I sat down and just thought about it one day as I'm closing the blinds. I'm like, what am I feeling now? If I don't close the blinds, what am I feeling here? And I sort of like analyzed myself, I guess, and figured it out. And I'm like, I think it's like the winter blues. Which, like you say, it's more like an anxiety. It's definitely more anxiety. Because I'm not just sitting there sad. Like, not that I can't be that over something. But it was not just sad. I feel distressed if I don't close the blinds. But it's not extreme. I'm glad it's not extreme. But it's enough to where I'm like, I want to close the blinds. It's silly. All right, here we go. So I'm just trying to very carefully place this black. So now I have both the ceiling fan in the back of the room and the ceiling fan across in the other direction, which is the living room. I have daylight LED bulbs. And yeah, I can see really well now, but I can't wait till it's dark now. And to see what it looks like. Because I think it's going to be such an improvement. I need to put one of these in my bedroom. I have like a floor lamp. You know, one of those tall floor lamps. I think I have an LED in that though, but I don't think it's a bright bulb. I gotta go see what that is. Because my bedroom, because I usually have my blinds closed in the bedroom, and because I'm only in the bedroom when I'm sleeping, I don't open and close the blinds in there, because why? I usually don't even have the door open. I have the door closed so the cats won't get in there and get into stuff. Because when I got the cats, I took everything that would break and put it in my bedroom. Shut the door. Like, I don't want the cat to break that, not that, not that, not that. So I put all that stuff into my bedroom. And then I leave that closed while the cats are out. And I only open it to go to bed. So why I just don't open and close the blinds. So it's always dingy in there. It's always dim. But I'm wondering now. I'm wondering what, because I know I put an LED in that lamp. But I'm not real sure how bright that is. I gotta go check that, because I bet I can put a brighter bulb in there. And maybe I can see better in the bedroom. The problem I have with seeing in the bedroom is picking out my clothes. And it's like, okay, I can pull it out of the closet. I can't see very well. Child-proof my house. Shut the door so they don't, yeah. They go in the breakable room. The fur child proof my house. Exactly. So they don't go into the breakable room. Now, there are a few things out here that would break, but they aren't something... Like, I put things in there that were family heirlooms that those cats better not break. So I put some things in there, like there's a bottle or vase-type bottle thing that belonged to my grandmother. I probably could have it out here and they wouldn't bother it, but I'm not taking the chance. And when I first got them, I had no idea what they would do. So I'm like, okay, what do I not want to break? Like, I really don't want to break. And I put all that in it. Cat proof. Oh, that's okay. You can say child proof. They're my fur babies. My fur children. That's what they are. That's all I got. So this takes a lot of blurring and blending, or you get a lot of, it's dark. Okay. So this just gives you kind of a smoky look here with black. You see, I don't do black often because it can be harsh. But since I'm kind of doing Valentine's, I thought I would do more of a smoky eye. Sort of a deep, dark romance. So I like this. There's a body wash that I use that is my favorite. And it's called Shower Frosting. And it's made by a woman in Georgia. And the name of her company is Barefoot in Blue Ridge. And it's handmade. She hand makes soaps. You order her from her directly. Barefoot in Blue Ridge. And the shower frosting is like a thick whipped soap. And it has sugar in it, so it scrubs. It has oils in it, so it moisturizes. And oh my gosh, some of them smell so good. Well, I like the one called Magnolia. It actually smells like Magnolia. It's called Southern Belle. And there's another one called Olive Branch. It smells really good, but I got one time. It has a musky smell. It really smells good. It's called Dark Kisses. I'm like, okay. That sounds like a good romantic scent. Of course, I don't have anybody to use it on. I'll wear my Dark Kisses around one day, but you take a shower and go out and find me somebody who wants some dark kisses. But you don't get that first. Oh yeah, I would like to sleep with my cats, but when I first got them, and they were in their other room, they romp from about 3 to 4 in the morning. Bang, bang, boom, boom, chase, chase. I'm like, if I didn't have to go to work, maybe that'd be okay. But no, I gotta sleep, girls. And I could hear them in there crashing it, because I have boxes and I store stuff in the room they're in. And they're like jumping on these boxes, so I can hear them crashing into they're not hurting it, but they're just making noise. And I could just hear them tearing through the room. And I'd go in there thinking they have torn stuff up. No, they didn't tear anything up. They didn't hurt anything. They're just making noise. 3 or 4 in the morning. Every day. So I'm like, y'all are not going to make it like where I'm going to want you in the room. Because I have to sleep at 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm sorry. So they don't do it as much as they used to. But if I suddenly stick them in a new room, they're probably liable to go like, yeah. And you know, they get excited. Because it's something new. I'd have to explore it, you know, at 3 or 4 in the morning. So I'm like, you know what? They're fine with it. I am using the black eyeshadow as liner. They're fine with it. They're not upset about it. They're used to it. That's their room. They have all their stuff in there. They feel safe and comfortable in there. Are the girls still on here? I see Holly. I don't know what happened to Marguerite. Maybe she had to go. Or it's not showing her on there anyway, but Holly's there. Yep. See, Holly says I'm here. Marguerite might have had to go. There we go. Just like liner. Dark smoky eyes. Now, let's put on some mascara. First, let's see. I want to do, before we get to the mascara, let's go ahead and do my little makeup fun. My little funsie. And I was going to use red lip liner for this and realized my red lip liner's out. Like, I don't have any. It, you know, it's the kind that, you know, twist it up and it's gone. I'm like, oh man, I gotta order more of that. Didn't realize that was out. So I can't use that. So we're gonna have to use eyeshadow, which is fine. But I'm like, well, it just messed up my plans. I had plans. And where is my little brush? Where are you, little brush? Huh. Well, I don't know where my little brush is. That's not that one. Did I have it over here? I don't know where my little brush went. You know, my little one that looks like this? It's usually in, oh, here it is. It is in there. Oh, how I'm not seeing it. I got the brighter lights. I should be seeing it. Okay, so I saw it was so cute. Trying to decide. The girl that did it had a lot more space here than I do. I don't have a lot of space. So I'm going to put it up a little higher. I want to draw little hearts. I did one heart last time. So is anybody watching the Super Bowl tomorrow? I am not a sports person. So I probably won't watch it other than, you know, probably the best part of it's the commercials. The only time you like to watch commercials. Here's a little heart. Then I'm going to put one here. I never have really... The only sports I like to watch are some of the things in the Olympics. Because they're different stuff. I like the gymnastics. I like the ice skating. You're a Chiefs fan. Okay. Unless you fall asleep again this show now. Well, I hope your team wins. I do not have a preference as to who wins. You know, if it was a team from my state, I would want them to win just because they were my state team. But to me, I don't know, I guess it has part to do with the fact that it's hard to see what they're doing because they're little bitty, you know, on the screen, you know, about that big. I did go one time to a football game in person when I was a kid because my parents wanted to go and I got taken along. And it was probably Must have been a college game. I don't think it was a professional. They like college sports, my parents did. But all I remember is sitting on a hard concrete bleacher and watching like men run this way, men run that way, men run this way, men run that way. Like, that's all they do. It's run back and forth. You live in Kansas. Oh yeah, that's where they're from. Huh? Well, yes, of course that's your team. But all I remember is like all they do is running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I guess there's a ball in there somewhere, but I couldn't see it. Somebody has the ball. Who has the ball? I mean, like, who has the ball? I don't know who has the ball. Where's the ball? Because, you know, they have to kind of, you know, hugging it, hiding it. Where's the ball? Who got the ball? I guess if you're used to watching it, you catch that, you know, when you're, I was probably 6 or something. I'm like, I don't know who has the ball, and I don't care who has the ball. Now, these aren't too bad looking hearts I'm doing. And I'm trying to do them a little different directions. But I remember all I could think of was I was cold and my butt was hurting sitting on that concrete bench. There was no back. And then it seemed to go forever. I'm like, when do we get to go home? Oh, we're only on the second quarter. We're halfway done. Halfway done. So they're gonna run back and forth a bunch more times. All right. That's the only live, you know, in-person football game I remember ever going to. I did go one time when I was in high school. Was it when I was in high school or was it when I was out? It might have been, I think it was my high school though, but I think it was when my sister got on the homecoming court. She wasn't the homecoming queen, but she was on the court. And so we all went to watch her. And I would have been, so she would have been like 16 or something. I would have been 25. And so the family, even some aunts and uncles, went to go see her on the court. And so we went back to the stadium at my high school. And I remember, now I wanted to see my sister. And I wanted to see that in the court. You know, she got to ride in a, you know, sitting on the convertible and wave. And my cousin, our cousin, he drove her. He worked for, oh, I forget, was it Mercedes or BMW? I forget which one he used to work for. I think it was BMW. And he's like, oh, I can bring the car. Because he was like the manager of the mechanics department. And he says, I can even bring you the car and I'll drive it. So he drove the car. She sat in the back and waved with whoever her date was. I, like I said, wanted to see her and see that part. But for the, you know, we had to be in there for the whole stupid game. And I sat there and read a book while they're playing the game. And my aunts are like, you brought a book? And I'm like, yep. This is a lot more interesting than that. And then when my sister did her part, that's when I watched and cheered. Yay! Because that's the part I cared about. It is hilarious. But if you take me to a game, I'm bringing a book. Because that is a lot more interesting than watching people go. But both my parents, I don't know, I guess I just didn't inherit it. Both my parents were big sports fans. My mother actually liked sports even more than Dad did. She was very sporty. I took after her sister, my Aunt Sharon, who was more girly. That's who I took after. And Aunt Sharon's daughter took after my mother, who was more sporty. It's interesting. My Aunt Sharon used to say that she and her sister got the wrong daughters. We should have switched. Because I was like my mom's sister, and her daughter was like my mom. But I figured, well, God knew what he was doing. You got the right one. Because Because, you know, if you got a child just like you, you're more likely going to butt heads with them. And if you get one not like you, you might be better off. Depending on who they're like. If you didn't get along with the person they're like, that isn't going to work out either. Alright, so I'm going to take this red eyeshadow and the pink blush I put on. And let's see. Let's use this little tiny brush. And I'm going to outline these hearts with the red. I actually saw a picture that I'm copying this. I'm not looking at the picture, but, you know, I got the gist of it. Little outline, hearts outlined in red. But I'm just so bored watching sports. Now, if you had a game, I will tell you, if you had a game, bring a book, that was absolutely like edge of your seat game, where it was, every minute of it was exciting. Now, I would actually probably watch that. But you don't know ahead of time if it's going to be that or not. But football, to me, has too many timeouts. And they're just standing there. And I'm like, what are we doing? Oh, it's a timeout. Again? They just had a timeout. Yep, again. But, you know, they're going over rules or going whatever they're doing. But I'm like, you know, if you cut out all these timeouts, you could watch this in an hour. This timeout stuff is boring. It's a little blurry here, but I think I may actually leave it because this picture I saw, the girl did it blurry on purpose. So let's just leave it blurry. But there's a lot of standing around waiting for the call, you know, waiting for your referees. Now, one of my uncles was a college football referee. He reffed a lot of games. He lived and breathed football. Loved it. And that good for him. He was a referee for years. Because they mostly did college games. In Florida. Because he was here. That's the uncle that died the day after my dad died. One day apart. They were about 3 years apart in age. My dad was 3 years older. But I used to do that too when I got to be a teenager. When we'd go fishing. Now, I like to fish. But if the fish weren't biting, I get tired of it. Because I'm standing there holding a stick. Fishing pole. It's a stick. And I'm sitting in the bowl just holding a stick. And if nobody's catching fish, I'm like, why am I sitting here holding a stick? So I'd bring a book. If the fish weren't biting, I go lay down on the boat somewhere and read. And the fish started biting, I go back and fish. But I don't want to sit here and hold a stick and nothing's biting. Were they close? Yeah, they were. My dad and all his siblings were very, very close. He was one of 7 kids. His other brother, there were 3 brothers. So actually there were 5 brothers and 2 sisters. And 3 of the brothers, now the first brother died when I was 7 years old. He was killed in an accident. He was in a car accident. Somebody hit him. So he was the first one that died. The other 3 brothers, the first one actually died, I think it was, 18 days before Dad. Then Dad died, and then the 19th day the other brother died. So they died within 19 days of each other, 3 of them. Same year. So everybody in my family we were like grieving all at the same time. Everybody had lost their father, brother, uncle, husband, somebody. And we were just going funeral, 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 funeral. They seriously, 19 days. There's one of the brothers, the youngest of the 5, is still alive, and the 2 sisters are still alive. You wasted the fishing. You wasted the fishing? No, you must not mean wasted. The fishing where you cast, you pull out and reel it back in. Yeah, when I was real little, I think Mom and Dad were afraid we'd hook somebody, so they gave us they would throw it out and hand it to us. But, yeah, that's more fun to throw it out and reel it in. But even after a while, I got tired of doing that. If nothing was ever biting. And so then I'd be like, well, okay, so then I'm just on a luxury cruise now. And I'm just going to go lay down and read. Especially if we'd already been fishing for a couple hours, I'd be like, it's time to go in. When you went fishing, yeah, it corrected it. Dad liked to fish. All of my uncles fished. And my mom also loved to fish. And so did my Aunt Joyce. That's the youngest brother that's still alive. Joyce is his wife. So my family had a cabin on the north shore of Lake Okeechobee, which is the biggest lake in Florida. If you look at a map of Florida and near the bottom right, you see like they almost always will put that lake in all the maps. You can see it, easily see it. That's Lake Okeechobee. We're about an hour and a half from it. And they owned a cabin up there. And so we'd all go stay in the cabin. It was like a little getaway vacation. And and it was fun to go stay in the cabin. And we'd have our cousins, we'd play in the cabin. You couldn't play outside much because you would get totally demolished with mosquitoes. Because, whoo, there were some mosquitoes up there. You would get eaten alive. So you pretty much had to be in the cabin. Or on the boat. Out in the lake. And we go put the boat in. And then we go back and they'd cook. Okay, here's the pink. I don't know, this may still look red. This is probably going to end up looking red. If I can do it lighter. Yeah, do it later. There we go. I was going to say, I did all that work to outline it. I don't want this to look the same. And then we had Grandma's recipe for hush puppies. I still have that recipe. Dad liked to make coleslaw. We'd have baked beans. They'd fry the fish in cornmeal. And sweet tea. Southern sweet iced tea. The only problems about going fishing is I didn't like to eat fish. I still don't. I don't like seafood. So I would want everything else. I don't want fish, but Mom would always make us eat a little bit when we were, you have to try it. And I remember very clearly doing this one time. I think it was when my sister was a baby, so I'd have been about 9 or 10. I was probably 9. And so Mom said, you have to try a little bit. So I remember putting whatever she deemed acceptable on my plate and dumping about a 1/4 cup of ketchup on it. And she goes, that is too much ketchup. And I'm like, no, it's not enough. I can still taste it. And I think Mom had this idea that and it's not a bad idea, that if we just tried it, we'd eventually get to like it. Of whatever it was. You just try it. And eventually you'll learn to like it. I didn't ever learn to like it. So, too bad. Didn't know where. Those are so cute. Little hearts. Alright, now let's do the mascara. I remember very clearly one day. So we also, another thing, when we moved into the house when I was 6 years old, we moved into a house that had about 3 acres of property. And so Dad wanted to do a garden. And I mean, this was a serious sized garden. He bought a tractor sized lawnmower. You could put a lawnmower attachment on it, or it was a tractor. It was a case tractor. And he bought some discs where you could attach to the tractor and it would disc, it would disc up the ground. And he did a huge area of that property and grew a garden in it. My grandfather, his dad, loved to farm. And so he would come over and help just because he loved it so much. He's like, can I come over and do that? And Dad's like, yeah. So he planted all kind of stuff. We had pole beans, which are it's a flat green bean. We call them pole beans. And I don't know, maybe you have them and call them that too. I don't know if everybody calls them that. And then we had tomatoes, cucumber, squash, radishes. Did I do this already? I think I did. And carrots, little green onions, corn. We grew squash. Did I say that? I probably did. Green peppers. Well, one year he grew collard greens. You forget what they're called. Valentine's hearts that say hug me. Oh, those little conversation hearts. It looks like the conversation hearts. If I could write them on there, I would, but I don't have so. I'd have to do it with a pen. It'd have to be something teeny tiny. We just have to pretend. This is the backside of the conversation hearts. I love those hearts. I like the yellow ones. They're good. They still make them, I think. But one year, Dad grew collard greens. And if y'all being from the South, you probably know about collard greens. Dad grew up with collard greens. His mom always made them, and he liked them. Now, Mom would eat them, but she wasn't that crazy about them. She was from Indiana. They didn't have them up there. Not that they couldn't get them. This wasn't a northern dish. But, Dad loved them. So she would make them because he liked them. And she would eat them. But I think she didn't hate them. She was just indifferent to them. They're like, yeah, they're okay. Oh, you don't buy them anymore. You don't buy more. Yeah, I know, understand that. Yes, because you gotta have more and more and more. But what was I gonna say about it? I lost it. So, that Grandma made 2 kinds of cornbread. One was a baked. No, it wasn't baked. It was a skillet cornbread. It has white cornmeal and flour and evaporated milk. I think it had baking powder. I have that recipe too. We call it skillet cornbread, and you basically fried it kind of in a cast iron skillet, and that was so good. But Dad liked this other kind of cornbread that Grandma made, and I think she called it water cornbread or something like that. It probably wasn't its real name. That's what she called it. But it had no milk in it, and it didn't have. I don't think it had baking powder, but it had cornmeal. I think it had cornmeal and flour and water. And it was it made kind of like a flat white crackerish looking thing. It didn't rise. But because it was mostly just had water and it had no taste. To me, it tastes like eating a piece of paper. But Dad liked it with collards. Well, collard greens are so strong, you don't know what you're eating with it anyway. So he showed Mom how to make that. So she made that water cornbread and collard greens. Well, because he grew them in the garden, and he's so excited. Kids, we're going to have collard greens. And we're like, okay. And then we all took a bite and went, ah! Oh, no. And then the water, you eat it with the cornbread. We're like, this doesn't taste like anything. It's like paper. Reminds me of the Lord's Supper. Yeah, it kind of did. I don't have that recipe because I don't think I wanted it. I'm like, this is, ugh. I didn't like it. I'm like, it's just like cornmeal. It had I don't think it had any sugar in it. I don't remember if it even had salt. It may have. Probably had salt in it. But I'm like, No, I know likey. So I don't even have that recipe. I think my Aunt Joyce has it, though. But I like, no, I don't even want that. I don't know, likey. When am I going to cook that? I'm never going to cook that. But Mom, you know, in her standard thing, is this red lip gloss called Love. Perfect for Valentine's, right? Mom said, y'all have to try the colored, so we did. Because, you know, we had to. And we're like guzzling down the tea to get that taste out of our mouth. Like, give me a napkin and wipe off my tongue. Oh, they're so bad. They're bitter. They're just very, and I know you can put this and that in it to make them not so bitter. You can't make it unbitter enough. Don't like it. And they're like green slimy. Slimy green. Thank you. I love this lip gloss. It's a pretty color. Shiny. So the next night, you know, because we had, you know, you make collards, you make a big old pot of it. So then we had them again the next night, and we're like, Mom's like, well, just try a little bit. We don't want any more. And so by the third night, the three of us were in rebellion. We're like, we have tried them. We don't want dinner. That's okay. We don't want any dinner. No, that's all right. We don't want these collards anymore. So Mom quit making us eat them. She's like, okay, you've tried them. And I think it's because she wasn't that crazy about them either. And so we're like, I think Dad hoped we would be his little country southern kids, which we were in a lot. But not of color green and concerned. Please don't make us in it. Please don't make us eat that again. So, she did it. She's like, I can't make my kids absolutely hate eating. So, we're not, all right, you don't have to eat them. So he never grew them again. Because nobody wanted to eat them. So if we went to a restaurant somewhere and they had collards, he'd eat them. Or if his mom cooked them, he'd go over and get them from his mom. But the rest of us were like, that did not get passed down. The thing that did get passed down, that every one of my cousins, and on that side of the family, we've got 17 of us. Every one of us loves the great old southern thing, hot boiled peanuts. I don't know if you've ever had hot boiled peanuts. Oh, they're so good. They're salty. My grandfather used to make them. My dad's dad. And we go over and visit our grandparents all the time. And if he had hot boiled peanuts on the stove, we were all like, oh, can we have some? And he loved it. That we all wanted, because that was one of his favorite things. That every one of his grandkids loved hot boiled peanuts. And if you see them, they sell them in Florida a lot. I don't know if you have to go to a back road somewhere. They sell them on the side of the road. Somebody in a stand. They got hot boiled peanuts. Love boiled peanuts. We'd go on vacation and we would see, Dad, that hot boiled peanut. And so we would stop and get them. And we used to go to a church camp every year. And we were staying in this one year in this one hotel. We were all staying in the same hotel. And my cousin, I was riding with my husband and I were riding with my cousin and her husband, and how do you hot boil peanuts? Mm-hmm. You take green peanuts, like not the dried peanuts, roasted peanuts, but like raw green peanuts, and you boil them with a lot of salt, and they get soft, and you just open them, and they're almost like a bean texture, but oh, they're so good. But on the way from the church camp to our hotel, my cousin and I saw hot boiled peanuts stand on the way to the hotel. And we're like, oh, we're stopping. So we bought a whole bunch of them. And we went to our hotel room. And my cousin and her husband stayed there too. And we were sitting there eating. And because we were all staying at the same hotel, everybody's in and out of each other's room. And one of my aunts happened to come in and see us eating the hot boiled peanuts. She told everybody else. And ended up with about 30 people in our hotel room going, you have hot boiled peanuts? Boiled peanuts. Yeah. We just call them hot boiled peanuts because they're good if they're hot. They also make them now that they make spicy hot. Okay, let's read our Bible. I want some. You can buy them in the store already cooked now sometimes. And they're not bad. But yeah, we buy them on the side of the road all the time. Hot boiled peanuts. Oh, so yummy. All right, let's see where we left off with our devotion here. I think I read that one. Did I read this one or not? Let me see if I read this one. I think I read this one. Okay, so then it means we're on this one. And the prayer comes from Ephesians 2:12-13 and Philippians 3:8. Let's see. Let me check this other one. Yeah, I think I read this other one last time. I'm getting to where I can't read. These are so similar in this section. I'm not sure I read this one. I think I haven't read this one. All right, well, let's read this one then. This is Philippians 4:13 and 1 Peter 5:7. It says, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, but frankly, we won't if we're too afraid to try. And the prayer says, my mighty God, thank you for your word that exhorts me not to become weary in doing good. At the proper time, I will reap a harvest if I do not give up. That's Galatians 6:9. I missed reading that one earlier. Father, this process of breaking free is hard work. It is, isn't it? When you get in bondage to something, it can be hard to break free. Please remind me often that it is also a very good work. Help me to know without a doubt that any effort you require of me will have effect. That's why it's worth it, because it's going to have an effect. Yeah, it's okay if I read it again. Good. Please help me never to give up, no matter how long it takes. Boy, I have been waiting a long time for some stuff, and I mean decades. I will reap a harvest in Jesus' name. Lord God, I acknowledge the promise of your word that I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. Help me cast all my anxiety on you because you care for me. I love that verse. That's the 1 Peter 5:7. When we have anxiety, we cast it on him. And you know, we can go back to the fishing. What does cast mean? When he says, cast your cares on me, cast your anxiety on me, what does it mean? It doesn't mean you just lay it there. It means you throw it. You throw it. Throw it away from you and onto him with all your strength. Throw your anxiety and your cares away from you and onto him, and he will take care of it for you. And I love that, because there's a lot of things that come up. I think, God, I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to take care of this. But he already has the answer, and you just got to throw it on him. And leave it with him. Don't go take it back. We do that a lot. Oh, I got to worry about this again. Let me have that back. Let me have that back. I'm gonna worry about it again. No, take it and cast it on him. All right, there you go. There's my fun little Valentine for today. It almost looks like blush in this area, except I haven't one escaping up there. And I hope you are very blessed. Have a happy Valentine's Day. Even if you're by yourself, I'm going to be by myself. Me and my cats. Have a happy Valentine's Day. And I hope you go and be amazing till next time. Bye.